This is me when I walk into Tesco's and there's lots and lots of sausage rolls on the reduced section. Get out of my way! Get out of my way!
Been playing a bit of Halo lately. It's a fun series. Forgot how interesting all the alien lore was.
Noble hierarchs, what did you do with Big Chungus?
I'm not the greatest player, but I do alright. However, I play with someone who, to put it nicely, wasn't that good. He never had a positive KD and he pretty much just ran around getting himself killed. Yes.
Oh, damn it. Why does the...
Alright, now I'm actually gonna jump down. Playing with him made me want to talk about how not to suck at Halo. This isn't really a guide on how to be pro at the game. This is more of a casual outlook where I just dive into basic shit to not suck as bad. So stuff like communicating with your teammates, or knowing the location and timing of when power weapon spawns, or knowing the geometry of the maps, while crucial for someone who wants to be competitive. When you're playing casual, it doesn't really matter. It does help, but you don't really need to know that stuff to do well. I'm also not going to go in depth with how a lot of the weapons work. Basically, alien weapons are better for shields, and human weapons are better for health. However, if you just stick with using precision weapons like the pistol, battle rifle, or DMR, you'll be fine. There's three main things you need to practice to not suck, and that's your aiming, your movement, and your general awareness. I couldn't think of a good word for that last thing. I know it sounds very obvious, especially the first one, like, yeah, no shit, if you aim better in a shooter you'll play better, but that's how you not suck, so I'm bringing it up. With aiming, use what you're comfortable with, but the controller has some pretty overpowered auto aim, so I would generally recommend using a controller unless you're already good at aiming with a mouse and keyboard, and at that point you really shouldn't be sucking at Halo, but whatever. I can't aim for shit, so I just use a controller. To practice aiming, I recommend focusing on getting good with the precision weapons. The pistol in Halo 1, the battle rifle in Halo 2 and 3, the DMR in Halo Reach. I don't really care about the other games. I'm sure they have a main precision weapon as well. Just get good with those. Precision weapons in Halo are god, and if you get good with those guns, you're pretty much set on becoming good at Halo. Keep in mind that with precision weapons, as soon as you hear someone's shield go down, you can just one-shot them in the head. It's one of the easiest ways to get kills. Another thing you should do is get good at grenades and learn how to bounce them effectively. Grenades in Halo are amazing, and a lot of gunfights are determined by a good grenade throw. If you have an idea on where your opponents are coming from, throw grenades at them. If you're losing a gunfight, run behind something and start tossing grenades to cover your escape. If you're having trouble getting better with grenades and precision weapons, I recommend watching someone who's better than you play and just learn from them. I always find it more useful to just observe people better than you and trying to just copy what they do. Then after you've observed them play, just start practicing in some matches. You should improve eventually. Look, if you're expecting some expert tips and stuff, then I really don't know what to say. I'm sorry to disappoint you. I'm not a teacher. I'm not good at teaching. Just use a controller and you'll aim better. Just use the auto aim and win. Alright, let's move on. Next, I want to focus on movement. When you're in a gunfight, you want to strafe left and right in an unpredictable manner. This will make it harder for your opponents to hit you. You should also mix things up by throwing in some jumps and crouches so that you're even more unpredictable and harder to hit during gunfights. I think you should avoid, however, that a lot of beginners do is overusing your jumps, especially in the beginning of a gunfight. Generally, just don't jump at the beginning of gunfights. When you jump in a direction, you're locked into that direction for like the next half hour. Your jumps are extremely floaty and you can't change direction while in midair, so anyone with a half-decent aim can land some shots before you even hit the ground. Another thing with your movement, if you're being shot at and you're trying to retreat, look down. It covers your head so your opponents can't one-shot you. It's a small thing, but it saves you a lot, trust me. That's basically the gist of movement. So now that movement and aiming are out of the way, I can get to the main reason I wanted to make this video. The main reason I wanted to make this video is just for your general awareness while you play. The person I played with in question, not only was he very aggressive, just rushing into unwinnable gunfights, he didn't have any awareness on anything. He never looked at his radar, he never considered the opponent's locations, the weapons they're using, whether he was at a disadvantage in a gunfight, if he had to retreat. All he did was rush and punch people, which is probably why I never saw him have a positive KD in any of the matches we played. I think in most of the matches he got around 1 to 3 kills and about 15 to 25 deaths. You might think that sounds like a bit of an exaggeration, but it's not. We can just evaluate this clip where we run into someone using armor lock to understand a little bit of where I'm coming from. So we get behind an enemy and we start shooting at him. He's in a pretty open area and we manage to lower his shield. In desperation, the enemy uses armor lock. When he does this in this position, he really can't do much. So me and my teammate, we could have just waited and shot him from a distance or threw a grenade at him when he got out. But instead, what my teammate does is he flies up to him on his jetpack and attempts to punch him. Not only was he still in armor lock, so it didn't do anything, but if my teammate even attempted to look at his radar while he was flying over to him, he would have realized that the entire enemy team was converging in on that position. So my teammate just dies for literally no reason, and I'm forced to retreat when I realize this could quickly become a 3 vs 1 scenario. Thankfully, my other teammates quickly come to my aid and we pretty much just clean up the rest of the enemies, but still, this clip perfectly demonstrates why you have to understand the position you're in. You have to evaluate when things become too dangerous, and you have to figure out the best way to deal with it. It also shows why you shouldn't punch people when they're in armor lock. You have to understand what's around you in this game, and teammates really help you with that. If you see your teammates are dying in an area, chances are enemies are over there. If your team spawns on one side of the map, then chances are the enemies spawn on the other side of the map. Just thinking of these things and coming up with ways to counter the enemy will help you improve. That's just what I mean by general awareness, I guess. Truthfully though, if you do suck at Halo, I recommend just trying to play more cautiously. Just don't overextend yourself. That's what a lot of beginners do. Some examples of playing more cautiously would be like choose your battles wisely, stick with your teammates and help back them up. Your teammates help soak up damage and help push choke points, so it's actually a benefit. When you're injured, be patient. Take cover and wait for your shields. Monitor your radar like a hawk. I usually end up looking at my radar more than the actual screen. Also, remember to crouch to remain hidden, because crouching means you don't show up on the enemy radar. So when you're expecting enemies or when you're taking cover, just make sure you're crouching. Also, if you're next to a teammate crouching, make sure you're also crouching to not give away their position, because that's pretty rude. Just try playing with self-preservation in mind. In Slayer, you actively hurt your team when you go negative, so if you're struggling to go positive, you should just try prioritizing staying alive rather than getting kills. Once you're more confident in your skill, then by all means rush in, play aggressive, punch people in armor lock, do whatever you want, but until then, playing aggressively will only get you killed more than anything. But with all that in mind, probably just the best way to improve is to just keep playing and practicing. You'll end up getting better eventually, and that's what it's like for anything you do, really. So, if you suck, just keep practicing until you get better. It's so easy. I know it's kind of lame to just list off a bunch of more basic / common sense kind of advice and just end it all with, just practice and you'll get good. But honestly, that's how to improve. By knowing the basics and practicing, you improve on shit. Do keep in mind, I still recommend watching people who are better than you and try and understand the way they play and the strategies they employ. If you keep practicing the wrong way, like using a shotgun at long range or some dumb shit, yeah, you won't really improve. So that's something to consider. But yeah, just keep practicing the right way. That's how you not suck at Halo. A lot of this does sound like common sense, but this is directed for a specific individual. So even if this doesn't help you to not suck, it might help him. But if it did help you, then that's nice. I doubt it. You probably already know this. You might just suck and know all the basics and you've tried really hard and you're just naturally bad at the game. Sure, that happens. That sucks. Whatever. Maybe you're like missing a hand or something. Got amputated. That would suck. Can't really help you out there. I think there's like one-handed controls or something. Be hard, but I'm sure it's possible. Anyway, I don't know where I'm going with this, so, I'm out. See ya.
Master Chief, you mind telling me what you're doing on that ship? Sir.
So this is it, the final chapter, the end of the road.
What did you do with Big Chungus? We know you're the sus imposter, and I saw you vent in electrical.